rising senior at Kathleen School. For my starter project, I built the mini piano keyboard, and for my main project, I built a tabletop robot. The reason I wanted to build this is because I wanted to get a chance to build a robot, assemble the electronics, and code it, so kind of get to try everything. And basically what it does is it drives around the table, it won't fall off, and I added remote control and then voice control. So try the voice control first. It can be a little hit or miss, but backward. Oh, sorry, forgot to turn it on. Try that one more time. Backward. So sometimes it can be a little, working on some latency issues, so that's something I definitely would want to improve in the future. But for the remote control, you can go forward, backward, turn left, turn right, and then there's an autonomous, so it can drive around. Not falling off. It's made of laser cut acrylic. It has 2 wheels and a caster in the back. The circuit on my robot has an Arduino, which is the microcontroller, basically the brain of the robot, 2 servos which turn the wheels, and 4 infrared sensor pairs. I call them sensor pairs because there's an emitter and detector, and they work together to calculate the distance from the object. And basically, the sensors, 4 on each corner, calculate the distances, and based on that, the Arduino will tell the servos to drive the robot in a certain direction. So if the back sensors don't sense anything, then that means they are off the table, and the Arduino will tell the servos to drive the robot forward to get it back on the table. The first modification I added was remote control, and to do this I had to have my remote talk to my robot, and that's where XBs came in, because they can communicate wirelessly. So based on the button I press, the XB on my remote will send a signal to the one on my robot, telling it to drive forward, backward, left, right, etc. Then, as you saw, I started working on voice control through creating an application that's voice activated, and it sends a command through the serial port to the remote, which then sends it to the robot. Sometimes it does not always pick up on my voice commands, as you saw earlier. I think the most challenging part of my BlueStamp experience was the first couple days when I started building my main project. I had no idea what to do or where to start, and it just seemed like such a daunting challenge. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. But I started by just researching what an Arduino is. What does it do? What are servos? How do they work? And not so much researching how to build my robot, but just researching each component and really trying to understand how they worked. And after I did that, the circuit that is on my robot just sort of came together, and that felt really amazing. And I faced a lot of problems after that in the process of building my robot, but not only did I have a knowledge base to work off of, I had the confidence that I could solve my problems because I had done it before. And kind of to what Robin was saying earlier, that brings me to what I got most out of this experience, which was that confidence in my problem-solving abilities. There's so many times when I asked an instructor a question and their response was, look it up. And I was amazed at how much I could figure out by just researching it and trying stuff out. By the end of the program, when I faced a stumbling block, I wasn't scared that I would completely fail and not know what to do. I was like excited for the challenge and confident in my ability to try some different methods and hopefully find a solution. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah?
The surface is not that much contrast. For example, it's all white surface. It still works.
Yeah. Because, so the way the infrared sensors work, there's an emitter, and first the emitter is off and the detector measures the ambient light, then the emitter is turned on and the detector again measures the ambient light, and it uses that difference to tell the distance, so even if the surface is white, it'll still be able to use the difference to determine the distance. Yeah?
How did you come up with all these applications, like remote control, like voice control, or even the sensor detection? Like how did you come up with these ideas?
Well, the sensor detection was part of the instructable that I based my project on. The remote control is just something that I thought would be cool. You know, I have 3 younger brothers. They have a lot of remote control cars and drones and stuff like that. So something I've seen a lot, and I thought would be a cool addition to my robot. Yeah.
You mentioned a serial port. What's that?
Oh, that's on your laptop. The USB and the Arduino, they can communicate through the serial port on your laptop. So. Yeah.
Did you how did you learn how to train the voice kind of detection and voice command system? Was that separate software?
That is actually built in on the Mac software, which is why it sometimes can be a little iffy. It's in system preferences, there's a dictation option, and you can basically go to the dictation option and say, when a word is said, run this application, and then I created an application that would just send a signal to the remote. So run that application. Yeah.
So with the latency issue with the voice control, what's the plan to fix that?
A possible plan would be adding Bluetooth to this this Arduino. I tried to work with Bluetooth. I didn't have enough time to figure it out, but if I could get that working, then my computer could talk directly to the robot. And another thing Chinmay suggested to me was just creating a wireless network that my computer and XVs could talk across, but that code might be a little complicated for me at this stage.
All right, one more question. What do you feel of all the things that you studied you learned most about?
I mean, there was just so much that I learned about. It's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think one of the most exciting things was really learning how the Arduino worked, because it's just such a cool, powerful thing, and it's so easy to use, and you can make it control a robot, but other people had to do completely different things on their robots, or on their projects, and I just thought that was really cool.
Have you thought about the reward application?
Yeah, well, in my house earlier, my mom was running the Roomba, and if you run it upstairs, it could fall down the stairs or fall off things, and having sensors like these to prevent it from falling off would be cool. And I think the newer versions actually do have that. Any questions? Great.
Thank you.